This episode is proudly sponsored by Conaway and Associates Equine Insurance Services. Welcome to Horse Person. I'm Caroline Culbertson, and today we're talking about something that every single one of us has experienced with our horses, but maybe we just haven't had the language for it yet. Think about that moment when your horse feels quote-unquote disrespectful to you, maybe pushy on the ground, calling for their friends under saddle, spooky, tense, checked out, just not listening. And the story we often tell ourselves in those moments is that our horse is being difficult or dominant, stubborn, maybe naughty. But today's guest is going to convince you that that story is wrong and why it's wrong. My guest today is Leo Rauscher. Leo has worked with some of the most accomplished riders and horsemen in the world, names like Daniel Deusser, Nelson Pessoa, Luciana Diniz, and Ashlee Bond, and his entire philosophy centers around one deceptively simple idea, and that is that horses are always communicating, and almost everything they do comes back to self-preservation. Leo's tagline is helping people understand their horses and helping horses understand their people. And in this conversation, he challenges one of the most common misconceptions in horsemanship. And that is that when a horse enters our space or ignores us or pushes back, it's a respect issue that needs to be dominated. Instead, Leo asks us to look at that moment through a different lens. In the horse's world, communication is so much about space and movement that he talks about in this episode. Who moves whose feet? Who yields? Who feels safe enough to relax? And horses only have one language. They don't suddenly switch dialects just because they are living with humans. And that is their body language, of course. So when a horse is fearful, communication often shuts down. They don't want to engage. They want distance. But when a horse isn't afraid of us, they may treat us the same way that they treat another horse. And that's where things can get really confusing for us as humans, as Leo explains in this episode. So Leo breaks down the difference between fear and misunderstanding, trust and control, leadership and dominance. And he talks about why clarity feels like safety to a horse. And I will say this up front. If you can make it to the second half of this episode, that is my favorite part. That is where things really open up. We get into right brain versus left brain horses, how pressure actually works in the horse's language, why punishment doesn't make sense to horses, and how learning to control movement without force can completely change your relationship with your horse. And Leo also gives incredibly practical step-by-step examples that you can take straight into your own riding and groundwork at the end of this episode. This is one of those conversations that might make you rethink a moment that you've had recently in the saddle or on the ground or at shows, or even just leading your horse to turnout and realize that your horse was talking to you the entire time. Let's get into it. Leo, your tagline for your business is helping people understand their horses and helping horses understand their people. What do you think, in your experience, is the biggest misconception that people have about what their horse is trying to tell them?
People need to understand a bit why horses do what they do and how they operate their mind and their life in nature. I always think about, I always try to go back to nature, how they talk to each other. And I found that they all communicate a bit the same. I think we have thousands of words for different things, and if I with my experience, if I could translate what they talk in nature, I think maybe 80% of what they talk is like, go out of my space, go out of my space, I want to pass, like move out, I'm gonna eat here, or I'm gonna roll in this dry sand, move. So it's always a bit um of a fight for space, or whoever is more confident pass in the middle of the herd, and the herd a bit opens for that. They are not afraid of themselves, right? They're afraid of, they can be afraid of people because they can see people as predators, but they're not afraid of each other. we want our horses close to us, right? That's why we have a halter, we have a lead rope, right? If our horses wanted to be close to us the whole time, right? Um, Not our horses, but a natural horse, a horse from the that doesn't know people, right?
Okay.
This horse doesn't want to be close to people. We want to bring that horse close to us, so we need to show them that we are not that predator that his instinct is saying, right? This horse, we need to gain their trust, right? And this is bit the old horse from the past, right? The wild horse, the Mustang. Nowadays, more and more horses they are born with people contact, human contact from the start,
Yeah.
and they're not so afraid anymore, right? So they are acting with people more and more the same way they act with themselves, right? They're treating people more and more like they treat another horse.
Right, because they have one language, and that is the horse's language,
The
but they
horse's
are
language.
coexisting with people often from the day that they're born. So they're
Right.
still trying to communicate with us in the only way that they know how.
Yeah. And they try to communicate to us, I think, when they're not afraid of us,
Mm.
right? When they are when they are afraid of us, they just want to be far, or they want to be left alone. They don't want to talk, or they want to go away, right? They're normally talking to us like they're talking to another horse, in my opinion,
Hmm.
right? And their language, it's based a lot on body language and space. When we start understanding how they think, we start understanding how important it is to control their feet, to move their feet, to move them back, to move them forward, to move them right, and to move them left. Basically, you control their feet, you control their mind, right? I think a lot of people talk about the horses being disrespectful, and I don't think the problem is to use the word respect or disrespect. I just think that respect, it's also trust,
Mm.
like
And it's earned.
yeah, like this horse is being disrespectful also can mean this horse doesn't trust you. It's not that he wants to be difficult, right?
Right. One of the things that you said that I think is really interesting is essentially that when a horse is fearful of the human, that communication kind of stops. The horse just wants to go away, wants to have their own space, wants to be alone. So they're not ready for a back and forth kind of communication with us. But sometimes, I guess my question is for horses that maybe are fearful of the person that's training them or riding them, or even their
Mm.
situation. If they're at a show that's frightening to them, they're spooking in an arena that they haven't been in before, that kind of thing. How do we, as horsemen and as riders, recognize that as fear or misunderstanding and not dominance or stubbornness? And what are some of those signs that our horse might be, doing with their body language that tells you this horse isn't dominant or stubborn? It's actually confused or scared.
Horses are moved by by their self-preservation instinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we start understanding that everything they do, it's about self-preservation instinct. It doesn't matter if they're being. Before, I used to think the horse that is afraid of me, it's it's letting the self-preservation instinct talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
The horse that is pushy, the horse that is stepping on my foot, it's not about that, right? I used to think that, but now I'm I I think even the horse that is being what people say disrespectful, self-preservation thing. And I thought every horse that was not afraid of people, that was being entering people's space and all that. Or horses that is calling another horse, right? That doesn't pay attention on people to people, right? Because with the wild horse, right? He's always paying attention on you, right? So that's that mostly, like most of the time, you have his full attention, right?
Meaning, if
He
you were to walk into a field of wild horses that hadn't seen a human before,
yeah,
they would
you
pay
have
a lot of
they will pay
attention to
attention on you 100%.
you. Okay.
Yeah,
Because you might be a predator.
because they're afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're afraid of being killed by you.
Right.
And the horse that when you're riding a horse and the horse is just calling his friends, right? I thought this horse is just being difficult, right? He's just want to be difficult, and I wouldn't consider that this is also self-preservation instinct that is calling him. He wants to be together with the horse. He wants to be together with his friends or with other horses that give him the leadership he needs. You understand? Because you don't. If you're with this horse and he just called his friends, he doesn't respect you, right? But it's not he doesn't respect you because he wants to be difficult to you. He just doesn't respect you because he doesn't trust you. He doesn't trust you, not that he thinks you're gonna kill him, but he thinks you're gonna get us both killed. You understand what I mean?
Yes, that is such an interesting point. So that might be if you're riding and your horse is constantly calling. I mean, I'm sure that a horse occasionally will like one-off call to a buddy, and you don't see that as a problem. But a horse that we've all ridden, those horses that are absolutely screaming for their friends back at the barn, and you don't have an ounce of their attention.
Right.
You're saying that is a symptom of them feeling like the world is the predator.
There's like they need confident individuals around them.
Yeah.
To feel that they are safe.
Yes.
Right. Let's say you're in a platoon in the army.
Okay.
Right. Let's say you're afraid of your sergeant. Right. You're afraid of your sergeant, so that therefore you don't trust him. You're afraid of him, right? You don't trust him. He's not a leader. He's like he's the boss, but he's not your leader, right? Let's say another situation, you're a soldier with another sergeant, but this sergeant, you're not afraid of him that he's gonna do something against you. You're afraid of him because you don't trust that he's gonna make the best decisions.
Right.
You don't think he's gonna make the best decisions because sometimes when you thought that day, when you as a soldier thought right was the wrong way and he thought right was the right way, but then you just said, what about left? And he said, oh, maybe, he wasn't sure, right? That makes you doubt if he's a good leader to be with.
Example. And what I'm getting from that is clarity for a horse can feel like safety.
Yes, and also like I don't know if you're here to hear that, but their language is a bit of violence. They pin their ears, they turn their hip, and they kick, and they have to move off my space. When I pin my ears again, you better move off my space, otherwise I'm gonna make you move off my space.
Yeah.
And let's say there's and the dog is the same. Like let's say the little puppies, they start having teeth, right? And they start hurting the mother, right? And then she showed her teeth. She say her, right?
Yep.
She just do this, lift the lip like this, show her
warning.
teeth, and then she's saying, "Can you please move? I don't want you to keep hurting me. Can you please move? And then he doesn't know. Obviously, he doesn't know what that means, right?
Mhm.
And then she does this plus the noise, right? And
Yeah.
then if he doesn't move, she does this plus the noise plus a little bite, right?
Mhm.
If it's a good mom, it's gonna do a gentle bite. When you see the work people do in the round pen, that in the end the horse follows the person, right? The first thing they're doing is controlling the horse's feet. You go to the left and you go at the throw, right? Now you go to the right, and then when maybe after working a little bit, controlling their direction, their rhythm, right? You put the pressure off and they want to stop and look at you.
Mhm.
They're paying attention on you,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
In the end they might follow you, but everything starts with control and safety. You stay far, like you control them from far first, and then you start working more close. You start working closer to the horse. I'm not a Parelli expert, so if there is someone uh, watching that is like knows everything about Parelli, I might be a little bit not. I don't know if I'm
We'll forgive you.
interpreting exactly. Yeah, like he is, but he basically said there's two kinds of horses: right brain horses, left brain horses.
Mm.
Right, right brain horses they see people as predators. They're afraid of people. Right. If you go in the field with 10 yearlings and they had zero training, right?
Mhm.
You see that there are three, three, four that stay far from you. You try to walk towards them, they walk away from you, right?
Mhm.
Those are right brain horses. They're afraid of people. Left brain horses, they're not afraid of people. They see people like it's another horse. So if you go in the field with 10 yearlings and you try and you see that there are three, four that they bite your clothes, they want to chew your hair, right? They
Yeah.
step in very close to you. Those are left brain horses, right? What I say is that with the right brain horse, you need to work more on gaining their trust, bringing them closer, right? Because you want to touch them and they walk away. They call me after some time and they say, "Hey, Leo, I cannot catch my horse. Can you come help me?
Mm.
It's in the field and he needs to do the farrier. He needs to see the farrier. He needs to be trimmed. He needs to have the dewormer, right?" And the other, the opposite of that, the left brain horse, they call me and they say, "Hey, he's striking me. Like he was fine. And I always, I used to pet him. He was super nice, full. And now as a 3-year-old, he's a devil. Like he wants to run over me. He learned to strike. He's biting all the time, right? So this left brain horse he need to back off. Like he needs to stay away from you a little bit. He need to put him far. Which horse is more natural? The right brain horse is more natural. I think God made the right brain horse, right? Because like it's the horse that see people and say, "Oh, that's the predator,"
Mhm.
right? That's the horse that survives in nature. I don't think the left brain horse survives in nature so well. At least the experience I have in Brazil, we had a small breeding, like maybe 5, 6 mares,
Mhm.
and they were all right brain horses. They are the Brazilian breed of horses, manga larga.
Okay.
And then a friend of my dad brought his mares and his stallion and made a partnership with my dad. So his horses were quarter horses and mostly left brain horses, right? And we started mixing our horses. So in the end, most of the breeding was more like left brain horse. I think this is something that is genetical. They are born
Okay.
like that, right? And this before this partnership with this guy, we had maybe one or two horses per year, maybe more, like less than one horse per year that was killed by a snake, right? They have a lot of rattlesnakes there, right? So the horse is walking and step in the snake and don't see, like unlucky horse, right? And you see the next day the leg is big and the horse is dead, right?
Uh,
After this partnership, like we start losing maybe two horses, two foals, three foals a year from snake bite. Now it's always the foals. Before it could be a gelding, it could be a mare, it could be anything, right? Now it's like only foals.
I see where you're going with
And
this. Yeah.
And they're getting bitten on their nose, not on their leg anymore.
Yeah.
Because they see the rattlesnake, and the rattlesnake see the fool and say, "Don't step on me. Look, we both gonna die if you step on me," right? But the left brain horses, they don't know. They are curious.
They're
They want to
curious.
play. They want to play. You put a jolly ball on their paddock, and they want to destroy it. They want to play with it, right?
Yeah.
You put the ball on the right brain horse's paddock, and he stays on the other side of the paddock for 2 days, right? He doesn't want to get close. The ball moves with the wind. He jumps out of his paddock.
Which horses do you prefer to work with? And
Mhm.
which horses do you think we're seeing more often be really successful in sport?
That's a good question. I like to work with the right brain horses, right? You
So
need
the
to,
horses that will go off that they would survive in nature. They want space.
yeah, the horses that are a
Okay.
bit more afraid of people. I like to work with them. They're just different. To be honest, they're both they're both great horses.
Yep.
I think a bit the difference is that the right brain horse. I'll tell you a story to illustrate what I'm
Okay.
talking about. Okay, so hunters. A person buy a 4-year-old hunter in Europe, right? So it's a right brain horse. Okay, so a bit afraid of people, and it's a 4-year-old was just broke. It was just starting his career. It was 6 months under saddle, maybe, right? So this person go to Europe, arrive at the place to try this 4-year-old right brain hunter, right? And by the time he gets there, the horse is already tacked up, and they say, "Hey, please go on the mounting block here." And there's already a person holding the horse, being very careful, you know. And then this person that is the American person that is trying the horse sits on the horse. The horse goes a bit like afraid of the rider, a bit gets a bit frozen, like steps funny 2-3 steps, and then it relaxes and then trots, canter, amazing. I love the horse, right? But it was funny in the beginning there, right? He was a bit tense when the person got on, right? This horse, they love the horse. They buy the horse. The horse goes to America after 15 days, arrives there. So they do a quick lunge. When they gonna get on, a person puts the foot in the stirrup. The person don't know the horse. Puts the foot in the stirrup. The horse kind of run forward, and the person get on, but horse gets a bit scared, right? Canter a little bit, and the person, whoa, 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 get back to control. Okay, this person jump off. Next day, the horse don't even want to get close to the mounting block, right? The horse is a bit afraid of the situation, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe they call a horsemanship guy, or maybe they give the horse some drugs and cookies and try, I don't know how they fix it, but let's say they fix it, right? After 3 months, you cannot tell that horse had a problem, right? He's maybe a little bit tense, but everyone knows how he is. They just take a bit care, and the horse is great. After 2 minutes trot, the horse is amazing, right? Now, let's say the same person went to Europe to buy a 4-year-old hunter, but this time it's a left brain horse. So this person arrives there in the farm and say, "What should I do? Should I get on in the mounting block?" The owner said, "I don't know. It doesn't matter. You want a leg up?" You know? So it doesn't, the horse is okay with everything, right? The person gets on, the horse is like, "Hey," the horse doesn't care, right? They trot, canter, jump. The horse is amazing, right? The horse comes to Europe. They do a quick lunge, whatever. They get on. The horse is amazing. They ride a month, show all their friends. "Oh my God, look the horse I bought. Oh, the horse is amazing. The only problem of the horse is only 4. It should be 8. So we could sell him for a lot of money," right? Like, the horse is amazing. And the horse is so easy that the home rider, the groom rides, go for in the in the canals, right? One day, the horse the horse is easy, so he's just doing like light work. One day, in the transition from trot to canter, he starts being a bit sour, a bit lazy, right? The transition that used to take 1 second is taking 3 seconds. It's like and then canter, right? And then that one day in the lead change, he doesn't quite do the lead change. He just goes a bit like and change in front, doesn't change behind. It needs to be like a bit kicked to do the lead change, right? And then the person say, maybe he's sore here. Let's call the vet, you know, or something. They stop the horse a little bit, and then they give a horse a break, start again after 2 months, and the horse starts well again. And then after some time, he starts pinning a bit his ears on the transition to the canter. It's a left brain horse. The thing with the left brain horse is that he's always going to challenge you a little bit, because he sees you not as a predator. He sees you more as another horse, and it's normal for them to challenge the other horses. Right?
Interesting.
If
Yeah.
you are not the leader, he's gonna be the leader, right? Whoever move its feet, whoever move the other one's feet first, win. Like they're always fighting a bit for leadership.
Talk to me about then what that means for pressure, how to apply pressure, how to progress in your application of pressure in training, and then also why you believe that that punishment doesn't work for horses.
Horses don't understand punishment. What they understand is do this, do that, please do this, please do that. What the problem with people is that they have that thing like, I told you already, and then they go strong.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
So this I told you doesn't exist for horses.
Got it.
The old mare, let's say that old confident mare, a young horse will pass close to her bucket of grain 1,000 times, and she's gonna pin her ears gently 1,000 times. We used to say, we kind of say the horse is being mean when they're pinning their ears. No, he's been very polite. He's asking very politely, can you please move? That's the most polite way
that's the
you
bottom
can ask.
rung of the ladder of escalation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the most polite way to ask. I like to say that I use my seat and my legs to tell the horse what I want when I'm riding, right?
Okay.
I use my seat and my legs to tell the horse what I want. I use my hands to tell the horse what I don't want.
Interesting. I've never
So
heard that
let's say,
before.
let's say you want to go forward. Ask with your seat first. Did he go forward? If the answer is yes, okay, put your seat in neutral again, right? If the answer is no, he did not go forward, then you have to use your legs, right? So seat is the first thing, legs is the second thing, right? Legs can cause a bit discomfort. Seat cannot cause discomfort,
Okay.
right? So when the horse is pinning the ears, that's like your seat, right? It doesn't cause discomfort, and it cannot escalate to pain.
Yes, it is just
right?
communication.
Yeah, the leg you can, right? The leg can start with little discomfort and go more, right? And so we start always with the seat, right? You want to slow down, start with the seat. If it doesn't slow down, use your legs. If he goes faster because of your legs, then use your hands to say what you don't want.
Okay.
I don't want you to go faster. Right? You just misinterpreted that. And the groundwork is the same thing. Like I like to open my arm to ask them to start to do the departure on the lunging. When I open my arm, that's me pinning my ears to them. Right? And then my stick and string or my flag, that's my leg. When I open my arm, I'm pinning my ears. When I move my flag, I'm turning my hip. You know, I might kick. You know? So but that takes some time to get there. Right? And soon it's almost like in the end, it's almost like you're dancing, you know? When we talk about the fine horsemanship where you dance, where you never use the big pressure, where you never have to touch your horse with your stick or with your flag, I can see that with the right brain horses that are never saw people in their life.
Today's episode is brought to you by Conaway and Associates Equine Insurance Services. If you have spent any time with horses, you know this. Things don't always go according to plan. Horses get hurt, situations change, and sometimes you're just forced to make decisions that you never saw coming. I have learned as a horse owner over the years that equine insurance isn't about being pessimistic or always thinking about the worst possible thing that can happen. It is about being prepared so that you can focus on your horse instead of the stress when something does happen. Conaway and Associates truly understands the horse world, and they offer personalized equine insurance for horse owners, professionals, and facilities. And they take the time to build coverage that actually fits your situation. It's not just one generic, one-size-fits-all policy. These are horse people. They understand what you're going through, and they're in it with you. You can learn more or get started at conaway.net. That's CONNAWAY.net. With those left brain horses, so those horses that do not inherently see us as a threat, they're not inherently scared of us, they might be more in your space. Talk to me about how you escalate that pressure. So I have in my barn right now, my gelding is definitely a left brain horse and my mare is definitely a right brain horse. So I have two very different ones. And I have found that especially working on the ground with my mare, so she's more of a sensitive, like if you move at all, she's like picking up on everything you're putting down. My left brain horse, like we joke, he's like a big dope. And that's like not a nice way to speak about him, but you have to, I would say escalate your pressure more to communicate with him. Whereas my mare, I always kind of start at that smallest amount of pressure, which honestly is just like intention and like a little bit of body language. Like I can just think, go forward, and she goes forward. And then and if she doesn't, then I just have to add the tiniest little bit on top of that. With my gelding, I always start with that intention. I try to always start with that, again, just as small as of a communication as I use with my mare. But then I have found that it's more effective for me to kind of jump sometimes, for me to sort of jump from like level 1 to level 3.
Yeah.
And then I can go back to level 1 to level 2. Why is that? Like, do you ever find that you have to escalate pressure differently with those horses that are left-brained versus the right-brained?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you make those decisions? How do you decide what to do?
If you ask the little pressure and his ears didn't even go to you, right? He's still watching whatever he was watching before. Maybe you have to escalate the pressure a bit faster. Sometimes it's not even to escalate to, like, it's not even to jump to a bigger level. Is only, to do it quicker, maybe.
Okay, so you're still going 1, 2. You're not going from 1 to 3. You're still going 1, 2, 3, but you're moving through them quickly.
Yeah, if you put this stallion loose in the field where this stallion that is in a box for a long time, so he's totally antisocial with other horse, right? If you put him in the field and he's go galloping towards that other horse, that other horse is already gonna kick right away. He's not gonna like pin his ears, turn his hip, like that thing is running towards me.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna give a big loud, like, hell no, stay away from me.
He's gonna pin their ears. For sure he's gonna pin his ears, but the kick is already right after, like maybe a second after, because there is no even time. Like you have to step back. Like I need to defend myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like you're gonna step on my foot, right?
When you're working with horses that you do have to escalate those that pressure more quickly. Like, I want to give us an example here. So let's say you're riding one of these horses and you ask them to go forward. Can you talk us through step by step exactly what your aids are and how you're timing them? Because I also want to understand the release so that we can understand the timing of that.
2 ways of asking something to a horse, right? There's I stealing from someone. Everything I'm stealing from someone, because we're all
stealing everything from everyone. That's what this podcast is about. It's just sharing wisdom.
Exactly. So there's two ways of asking something to a horse. There's the how little and the how soon, right? Okay. So how little do I need to make this horse to get this horse to move forward, right?
Okay.
And or how soon can this horse move forward? You understand? So if I have 3-year-old, 4-year-old stallion that is left brain, that is thinking about, like that you put your leg and he pins his ears, right?
Hmm.
You're not going with how little do I need to make him move. No, it's how soon.
Okay.
Leg, voice, whip, right? Leg, voice, 1 second, whip. And then
Okay.
I whatever my last pressure is the pressure that makes him move forward. You understand?
Yes.
Leo, but if you have to hit him really hard, then he's not well prepared from the ground, right? You don't have to, like, in order, you need to prepare him well enough from the ground that you don't need to, hurt the horse, right? But
Got it.
you're gonna, like, use your leg in a gentle way. There is not more leg, right? Leg, you wanna use your leg like you're pinning your ears. When horse pin the ears, can he pin more the ears? No, like your pin your ears or not,
Okay.
right? It's
So
not
you're
like pin your ears. Hey, pin your ears some more. No, you don't have more. So leg, I don't use more leg, right? I use leg gently, and then I use my voice, and then I use my whip. Sometimes it's not about making them uncomfortable, like, physically. It's
Mhm.
maybe I scare him, like I move my jacket, like I make him move, like with
Yeah.
the flag, for example. These horses that are insensitive, maybe a flag is better than a whip. It's not
Mhm.
gonna cause them pain, but it's gonna, like, hey, like, it's
Yeah.
gonna kind of spook them forward.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
wanna you wanna you want to prioritize organization instead of quick. With this stallion that has been a bit disrespectful, I don't mind if he inverts him, and if he inverts himself in the transition, if it's not a beautiful transition. I want a quick transition. I want it now, right? Then
I
we're
see.
gonna we're gonna
Mhm.
work on the pretty to make it pretty later. Right now I just
Okay.
want him quick moving off my leg, right? The horse that already wants to trot all the time, they're already busy feet. This one, I want to see how little do I need to make them move.
Talk to me though about then your rein aids, which is what you're saying I want you not to do. How do we not get into with those horses that are insensitive? How do we not get into a pulling match with them? How do you escalate the
With
rein?
leg
Okay, talk to me about that.
leg to slow down. Leg, I think there's two phases in a horse's life, and there are two phases in a rider's life, right? in a there is before and after you understand that you can slow them down with leg,
Okay. We
right?
have to talk about this because this is
So
going to be new
yes.
to a lot of people.
Yeah, because, like, when you're a kid and you're riding your pony, it's leg to go
Leg means
forward, hand
go,
to
reins means
stop.
slow down. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Hands to turn, hands to stop, reins to stop, leg to go. Like, if you want to ride a horse and you just go in the pony farm and you want to ride a horse and you never rode a horse, that's what they're going to tell you, right?
Yep.
But more you develop as a horse person, like, maybe you do the ponies like 1 meter, 1 meter 10 with your pony, right? And then you find another horse, a new horse to jump 120, 130, right? And then you want to do a line, and you do 4 strides easy, but you want to do today 5 strides. That's what your teacher is asking you.
Hmm.
When you put just hand, the horse trots. It's a heavier horse, it's a bigger horse, right? So this horse trots. You don't want him to trot. You want him to do instead of 4 strides that he do very open 4 strides. You want him
Hmm.
to collect and do 5, even 6 strides on that same space. So you start understanding that you need leg to slow down.
Hmm.
Mm? When you understand that and you start mastering that, it changes your life as a rider. So there's two. Until you understand that you can squeeze your leg with your horse with your leg, and he'll stop and back up. If your horse backs up with leg, you can also stop him with leg
Hmm.
and back up. So then you can start keep your hands way more quiet. Your hand is just to if he For example, you want to back up your horse. You put your legs back. I put my legs back and around
Yep.
them, right? Some reining people, they put their legs forward on
Yeah.
their
I was
close
taught
to their
back as well.
shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you choose, but anyway, I use to put my legs back and around. The horse goes forward, and when he goes forward, look my hands. I say, no,
Mhm.
don't go forward, and then he stops, right? And then I put my leg again, and he goes forward again. I say, don't go forward. One day he's gonna maybe think about going backwards, and that's when I give, right? Then he's learned to step back with leg, right?
Yeah.
It takes your equitation, your riding to a different level. Your ride is going to start pulling way less. That's for sure.
Okay. When you start to master that with a horse, when the horse starts to understand that, what change do you see in the horse? That they're able to carry themselves a little bit more and they're not pulling on you? What else?
Yeah, yeah. That you start the riding is from the back to front, right? That's
Yep.
what we see everywhere. But I don't see like we don't see a lot of teachers that can drop their reins and turn the horse with their legs. They're saying, "Oh, well, the riding is back to front." But when you take the reins out of the equation, I don't see a lot of people doing like something simple at walk, like just turning right, turning left, stop, back up. I'm not asking to go in the ring and do your course without the reins,
Mhm.
but like we should be able to do some simple things. And if we cannot, like let's start trying. Like just as a self as knowledge and like trying to self develop thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't see people like really trying things with their horses, and I think part of that is because the horses are so expensive. Also, in the world I live today, you're a kid, you have already a $30,000 horse. You don't want to like do anything wrong. It's almost like you're learning to draw. Your kid is learning to draw with gold, with the paper, with the expensive
Where it's like, don't mess
paper
up.
and gold paint.
Yeah.
It needs to do something really pretty and only one time. It's like your kid
Mhm.
that needs to go sign their passport. Hey, kid, you need to go sign your passport. Dude, you need to do very well. They don't learn anything because they're being careful
It's
and they're
paralyzing. Yeah.
it's yes, and exactly, and they know the numbers that the parents pay for their horses and all that. That's why people can't ride.
Wow. That's a conversation
And
I've
I think,
not
in my
had
opinion,
before. Yeah,
they
like
need
when
like a $5,000 horses, and they need four of them.
people who come to you wanting help with their horses, do you see those holes in their education like you were mentioning, like not being able to really ride back to front, for instance? Like what are you seeing and in terms of young riders and how they're taught in kind of mainstream sport programs, what would you like to see them be able to do more of?
I mean, I'm not talking about the ones that will ride only in the weekends. I want to talk about the ones that are like they ride every day. The
Yep.
the amateur that rides every day and go to the competition and have their teacher. um I think when you have time and you know that this is something you really love, I think you should not I think you should go do other sports, try other things, like uh and
Yeah.
one thing that I like, people need to start a horse from zero. It needs to be like a pony or like those polo ponies, the smaller horses, easier horses.
Okay.
Like start the horse from zero, because then every time you have some problem with your horse that is winning the competition, that worth a lot of money, where in that in that spectrum, where's the hole in the foundation,
Yeah.
where is the problem, because you produce the horse. Like it's almost like it's our sport. It's almost like the person can control, like those police dogs that can look for drugs. He can climb walls. He can go get the bad guy out of that house, right? They can do anything, and you can tell the dog to do everything. You can manage the dog. You're a very good dog trainer, but you don't know how to teach give, paw, and sit. You know, which is like should be like the first
Yeah.
thing, and it's a bit us with the horse. People cannot put a horse in a trailer. If you give them the person win the Grand Prix, but if you give them a horse to put a saddle on and do the first ride, and you give him 4 hours, it it
Wow.
it,
Yeah.
it can't do it.
It does make me wonder how much more of an understanding of how horses perceive what we're asking of them, how horses think and learn we would all
Yeah,
have if that's how we all started our riding careers. If we all started our riding careers with, hey, before you actually get on, you're going to learn everything there is about how horses think and learn and understand and how they experience pressure. Like, that's so different than
yeah.
how most
For
people
example,
start.
I've seen the other day a video, those nice videos the people hire the photographer to film them entering the
Yep.
arena, going out of the arena, giving prize money, whatever. But they're part of a video. The groom is holding the horse here on the reins, and this person is in a mounting block, gets on the horse. The horse is like shake the groom's hand, like pulls the groom like that, and like start walking right away, almost like picking up a trot.
Oh boy. Mm-hmm.
Like this person don't even know that this is like the routine. This person choose that to put in their Instagram video.
Right. Like they didn't even
Like
realize,
they
like,
don't
'cause
even realize that how
that's a
ugly that is.
big problem. Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
so
we don't make
normalized.
fun of them enough. Like, oh, look at your horse. Like, like it should be something like a matter of proud. Like, oh, I need to be able to have my horse stand still for me to get on.
Yeah. Where we as horsemen and riders get our pride from, because it does seem to be how you placed at a show, what level you're riding at. And the
Yeah,
other thing too is, we talk a lot, and we talk a lot on this podcast, and I just recorded a roundtable discussion about this, about the finances of the sport and how expensive the sport is and the cost and everything. What's really expensive, of course, right now that everyone's talking about is competing. It's incredibly expensive to compete, especially here in the US. If we took more of our pride as horsemen and riders from my horse is really solid in these things that are free. It is free for you to teach your horse at home to stand at the mounting block or to do what you do, which is have them actually approach the mounting block themselves and then stand there. And there's also
yeah,
this added pressure of if you can't afford a horse that's as expensive, you're at a disadvantage. But again, that's only because we're putting so much priority on competition.
yeah. I think competition it's nice. It's like I'm more and
Yeah.
more now working with horses that are competing in a nice level, and something that excites me.
Mm-hmm.
I like I think it's great. I think about the costs of the sport. I think also people change horses a lot.
Yes.
Like they use like you either training or untraining, right? So you untrain and you change to another horse,
Right.
right? We are we 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 do a lot of harvesting, on the horses. We buy a horse and we harvest, 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 and we don't plant, right? Sometimes, and I think that's what makes people change horses so much. Also, that makes the costs go higher. I think when you're training horses, your celebrations sometimes can be very lonely. Like for
Mm.
example, the other day I finally after 6 months I can have a horse to walk on loose reins, and going home, for example, going back to the barn, and I wanted to go out for dinner. If I start telling, hey people, let's go, let's celebrate that, like they're
Yeah.
gonna think I'm crazy. what is this crazy guy talking about, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but it's as important as a good result in the ring, you know? And maybe and also what happens a lot is that people don't have a horse trainer mind. It's like, you know what's a bit different in the other industries, for example, reining industry, right?
Mhm.
Like they compete the horses pretty early. I'm not here to judge if that's right or wrong, but they go to the high level and the horse is 4 year old, 4.5 maybe, right?
Okay.
And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're 4 year old, they go to the high
I
level,
don't
right?
know. Yeah, I'm not
So
sure.
they achieved the high level and they had like maybe 2 or 3 riders in their life, right? So 2 or 3 people sit on that horse. Maybe
Mhm.
even one person only rode that horse only all their life. So um, the person, when there is a problem, when the horse is opening their mouth, when you pull the reins, he's opening his mouth, or when the horse has a problem or switching his tail, this person that rode this horse knows exactly what he did wrong. You know, he knows, oh, was
Yeah.
that day, like, maybe they will pretend they don't know or blame the horse, but in deep they know what they did wrong, what they should have done better,
Mm.
right? This horse has this problem because I should have done this better, right? With show jumping, I'm not gonna say dressage because I'm don't work so much with dressage, but in show jumping, the horse gets to the high level and maybe had more than 100 riders, maybe more, maybe 200 people already sit on this horse.
That's wild.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like if he was if he was in a dealer, the rider change all the time. You know, like I go teach in places where the boss hire me, and the next week I go and it's totally different team.
Wow.
You know, like they change like so the horses. People don't people that are born with show jumpers and in this system, they kind of don't take so much in consideration the human factor. You know, they think the horse is like that because it is like that. You know, like they think the horse is stiff because the mother was stiff, or you know, because
Okay.
it's like they
Yeah.
don't understand that it might be the first 10 rides the horse had when he was young and nobody working on that, and there's not good enough people riding it, you know? And so even when they do something good, they don't understand that's result of their job. It's too many people riding these horses in
Right.
their career, you know?
Yeah.
A 5-star horse today, it needs to be a good horse in the ring, but this needs to have a very easy management also, you know, like it needs to have easy maintenance.
Hmm.
It needs to, you know, it's easy, it needs to be easy to maintain, to keep fit. It needs to be easy to train because the rider is, it's always away, right? It's that has normally 3 teams of horses, and
They
the
have to
horses
travel so much.
they're
Yeah.
traveling. Maybe they're home every Monday and Tuesday, and that's it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the horses, that's when they maybe jump the horse on Monday and Tuesday,
Yep.
right? The person takes the day off on Monday, jumps the horse on Tuesday, like that little bit of jumping before going to the competition, and that's it. All the rest of the horses, the flat work is always all done by the home riders, and the home riders, they change a lot. You
Yeah.
either training or untraining.
Leo, in closing here, I have a few like quick questions. They're sort of rapid fire questions for you that I've been saving up, thinking about our conversation for quite a while and wanting to ask you. And can just be sort of whatever comes to mind for you first, because we've covered a lot of territory in this conversation. And you have so many amazing metaphors for how you communicate things. And if anyone is listening to this and they are wanting to learn more from Leo, your Instagram page is an amazing resource, actually. And that's, as we were talking about earlier, the beauty of the internet is that you can find answers to a lot of the questions that you have on the internet. There's more information than ever. And your Instagram page is really wonderful for demonstrating a lot of these concepts that we've been talking about. But a few questions that I have in here in wrapping up our conversation today. For the everyday rider who doesn't have a full-time trainer, are there one or two small practices that they can add to what they're doing with their horse this week to start communicating with their horse more clearly?
Yeah, I think they can start with the groundwork.
And where do they
I
start
think
with the groundwork?
try to be a bit of a mirror, right? If you enter in the round pen and your horse is been like wants to canter
Mhm.
already, as soon as you enter in the round pen, ask him to walk. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
If your horse you enter in the round pen and he doesn't even want to go forward, like what about like asking him to trot already? Like
Mhm.
try to change things a little bit, like try to go out of the automatic. I think a lot of if I
Yeah.
start watching people arrive in the same round pen the same way with the same lunge line on the left side of the bit, and then they start lunging to the left every time, and then yeah, it's a bit always the same, right?
Yeah.
I
And like
think
you were
we
saying earlier, people are scared to try things because they're scared of messing something up. But I think what you're saying is your communication with your horse can become more robust and better when you try different things. And sometimes
yeah,
that means doing something unexpected.
yeah, and of course be safe, right? But I think you should try to have your horse standing still when you get on. Try to do some lateral bending with the bridle. Try to do back them up on the lunge line. Have them walking far from you. Make them ask your horse to walk far when you're to the coming back to the barn. Ask your horse to stay, I don't know, 3 4 4 meters away from you the whole way. Right? You're gonna see how difficult that is in some
It
cases.
is really, yeah,
How
it is really hard for some horses to do that. Like for my
how many
gelding, that's really
yeah,
tough. Yeah.
how many times you're gonna have to stop and back them up? They're
Hmm.
gonna look at you, say, "Oh, what's that crazy person doing?" You're gonna stop and back them up, and stop and back them up
Yeah.
until they really stay far from you.
Yeah.
Like this something difficult. Or if you do a trot for the vet, if you start trotting, you think the horse will follow, or it's gonna just be like, and not go to the trot,
Mhm.
right? Need someone behind to clock and to push. Don't be afraid of trying new things. And for you that is a everyday rider that doesn't have a trainer, good riders that I teach, the more I can tell you that the best the rider is, the highest the rider is in the ranking, like the more they want to learn this different things. We think sometimes that, oh no, they're like the other day someone said, hey, I really need your horsemanship, some horsemanship lessons for my horse. A person in Wellington told me that. And then I said, okay, let's do it. Oh, sorry, I cannot do it. I have to cancel. My trainer don't want me to do it. He said the horses lose quality with that, like the quality in the ring, and
Whoa.
like it's like maybe it's a trainer that don't, I mean, might jump 140 or something,
Okay.
and then next in a minute I'm going to someone that is in the top 10
Yeah, then you're going to Daniel
list
Deusser.
doing exactly this,
Yeah.
and the horse is jumping better after, like it's no, because I'm saying this because some people maybe say, oh, that's BS, like
Right.
I'm doing show jumping, I don't need to do this. But it's really important just to get to understand how they think, how
Yeah.
to understand how they think. People that don't know these things, they're gonna be in the future. I think they're gonna be behind in the future.
Yeah. Leo, what is one traditional rule or phrase in horse training that you wish every rider would stop repeating? Is there anything that you would just get rid of?
That's a good one. The horse is stupid, you know?
Mm,
This horse is stupid. Or, yeah, when we say that, we normally don't know what to do, you know?
yeah.
At least when I said that, every time I said that, it was because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So,
And it was easier to blame the horse. Yeah.
so yeah.
And
I
then,
cannot, not say I never said that, but hey, stupid horse, you know, because I was frustrated, not with me, with the time I had to do it, or with the, with the situation, and with the with things that are not the horse's fault. That's for sure.
and then conversely, what is one principle that will always be timeless, no matter how the sport evolves, that you think is great and you want to stick around?
There is a quote from Ray Hunt, I think.
Mhm.
He say, no, I think Stone Dorrance. He said, it's as gentle as possible, as firm as necessary.
I've heard
Yeah.
that one before. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. That's a
So,
good one. Leo,
yeah.
thank you so much. This has been an amazing, amazing, amazing conversation. And I just can't thank you enough for your time. And again, if anybody was wanting to learn more about what you do, more about you, I will link your Instagram page in the show notes of this episode.
That fed your curiosity or gave you a new perspective or a new tool, or maybe just a little inspiration to keep going on the journey that you're on. If you want to support the show, please share it with your friends and family, share it on social media, and leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify is extremely helpful to helping this show grow. And also showing our sponsors some love as well and telling them that you heard them on Horse Person. That is so helpful and will help this show grow and expand and serve you better over